So, hello, we are playing against Dilo. And I'm commentating this game just for this YouTube video. Here we see no hounds, unfortunately. So, cost control specialist looking good, patcher specialist looking good. But I believe I will pick the aerial specialist, because today was an Abus day. I had played this, or now I have played this new patch, maybe 10 games, so not that much. But when I was playing, I was forcing the Abus quite hard. Because I think there's some potential in it. It's not like that strong, but it is pretty good. And in this video I will share what I think is good with the unit or how you should approach it. And basically I've noticed that wasps are really strong with it because they distract the melting point. And the Abus is actually pretty good against Mustangs, and usually when you deploy wasps, the enemy will go Mustangs. And there's another reason for that also, because the Abus is, in my opinion, great with sledgehammers. There's two things about sledges. Sledges are great against hounds, and with the armor they are great against Mustangs, and because they don't die to fire, they are really strong against melters. So when you have Abus in the late game, the sledges are your good front line, because they tank for the melter. So I've been trying out this kind of wasp starts, going wasp pretty early to force the enemy into Mustangs. Then I go sledges, and eventually I'll add the Abus for single target damage. And I quite don't remember how this game turned out. I believe I will pick the wasp here. The Typhoon is pretty bad for the enemy. And he could go wasp himself, or he could go phantom rays. Like phantoms to kill my left tower would be pretty good. And I think with the aerial specialist and giant specialist you can build the Abus quite early. Because it doesn't cost any upkeep if you go the efficient maintenance on it. So it's pretty cheap investment, and the enemy usually have to overreact to it. And I'm like already setting it up. I'm deploying the sledges like we talked about. Getting the wasp in. The wasp is kinda sketchy pick here though. A little bit at least, because I have fangs. So the enemy Mustangs is actually quite good. And there's a lot of hounds also going on in the ladder. I think the hound is still a very good unit, even though it was nerfed. It's like my go-to chaff unit. Most of the games I play I go hounds with mech rates and range. The fire is not that crazy anymore. It was super overpowered before. And the Abus is actually very good against the hounds. So like there's a lot of good things going on with this comp I'm trying out. Like this trinity of wasp, sledge and Abus. Unfortunately I don't like the storm starts that much, but fortunately in this game they were pretty good. At the start I was kind of surprised Dilo is a pretty aggressive player. I was kind of surprised he wasn't in the front. The cards are kind of bad here. The shield is always okay. The Elite Mustang don't scare me at all. If he picks the Elite Mustang here, I will just go the Abus as planned. This is quite an annoying crawler. I do this beacon a lot to my enemies if I'm defending. Quite hard to deal with. You need to deploy a lot of stuff there, but I have pretty slow army, so the enemy army is actually faster than mine. So I'm not trying to pressure his tower or anything, so I don't mind that my units are going to Africa with this enemy crawler. My throat kinda hurts, so that's why I haven't been streaming, and that's why I didn't talk in this video, and that's why I'm talking a little bit less now. Maybe preserve my voice. Still wanted to do a video. But this game is going exactly like planned. Like, we are on track to build the Abyss. And it's looking quite good against the enemy. He's leveling his hounds, committing into them. The Wasp might be a bit of a problem though. I'm not quite sure yet what is the best Abyss counter. I think the best Abyss counter is just to win the ground wars, to have more chaff than the enemy. But like aerial spec Wasps might be pretty good against it. So I think I'm checking here, can I do something with the Wasp's farm? I could deploy guys in the flank and put the Wasp in front of the enemy tower. That way it will kill the tower, but it's pretty risky play for that investment, because I need to make useless deployments in the corner. So I decided to skip. The Wasp farm is pretty good against me though. The storms aren't looking that great anymore, because they're getting distracted by the flank. So I'm just selling them to prepare for the Abyss. And the enemy still hasn't gone Mustangs, which surprises me a lot. There's like 3 fang packs he can connect to, and the Wasps. So this Wasp deployment is to counter the enemy Wasp swarm. And these sledges are just a tank for the Abyss that is coming probably next turn. And they are good against the hounds. There's the Wasp swarm. Oil. These late Wasp are actually kinda good for me, because the enemy hasn't addressed them at all. There's like 1 pack of enemy Wasps. And the oil doesn't bother me that much here. Like, I have a very slow composition with Sledgehammers. I feel like in this game, like, it almost feels like I'm the defender and the enemy is the aggressor, because he has faster units than me, even though he's deployed defensively and I'm deployed aggressively. So all of these defensive spells kind of don't matter to me. So this is something I don't wanna see, the efficient light manufacturing specialist, because we are going Abyss. But if I remember correctly, I will take it, just because I don't need that many of the Abyss. Just 1, maybe 2. I think there could be many playstyles with the Abyss where you build 1 Abyss with giant spec or aerial spec and take the maintenance, and then you can sell it next turn. Then the enemy is kind of confused what you are building. It used to be really strong. I used to do this Sledge Overlord push in the previous patches a long time ago, and one of the strongest things about that was that so basically you did Sledgehammers, Fangs and Overlords, and the enemy never knew what's coming next turn. Is it gonna be more overlords or more sledgehammers, it was pretty difficult to deal with. Because if he overcommits into countering the air, and then he sees 3 armored sledgehammers next turn, he's like completely dead. And if he doesn't counter the overlords, there could be like 3 boats with range and overload. And I feel something similar going on with the Abyss. When you have one Abyss on the board, like you kinda need to respect, but then there could be more sledgehammers or some other medium units that counter your composition. So I've been kinda liking the Abyss, but still not sure what is the best way to play it. And this kinda expected that he's attacking my left side tower because it's so vulnerable. Good play by him, I guess. I still didn't build the Abyss, maybe because the efficient light manufacturing specialist. Not quite sure what is the correct round to build the unit. Maybe it could be correct to force it really early, like round 4, save some money for it. Maybe it's a round 6 play, can't know yet. It's pretty hard for him to shield these incendiary bombs. He has so many units in different places. It's a crazy spell here, and actually I don't have any chaff. I have like 3 fangs and one crawler. So the fire isn't good against me, and I shield the only spot where it's good. The Abyss technologies have been feeling pretty bad, but the unit is kinda good on its own. Like the raid summoning is sometimes really good against like aggressive crawlers or wasps or something. Or just in a situation where enemy has like high level phoenix and high level marksman. So he isn't interested in building a melting point. It will tank a lot, clear some units for the Abyss to connect better. It's actually quite good in situations where you don't see a melting point. And if you pair the Abyss with Wasps, I think it's really strong to go like 1 or 2 Wasp with the Abyss. If you do it, then there usually is Mustangs. When you have like armor raids, it does something against the Mustangs. This is a pretty lucky turn for me, I think, with the fire. It carries me a lot here. And this is also why the Abyss seems to be pretty strong, is because of the Hounds. Like the Hounds for me serve a pretty similar purpose than Sledgehammer, tank for the melting point, clear chaff a lot. But also for the enemy, because the Hound is a very strong chaff clear unit. It's a high likelihood the enemy is committing into Hounds, and the Abyss, like the more Hounds they are, the less chaff the enemy has. That's basically what it means. And the Abyss struggles against chaff a lot. This I'm signaling that this is a big troll unit drop from Bear. Like, I really don't want to see a level 3 melting point. And these other units are kinda bad also. The Rhino does nothing in the melter. The Phantom Raids are quite bad. Now I decided to go Worms, because Worms are actually quite good against the melter when you go replicate and mechanical division, or only replicate. I think I tried Sandstorm against melters in some other games with the Abyss, but that was pretty bad. I thought it might be good, but it wasn't. So the good thing about the Abyss is actually kills the melter quite fast. If you can tank a little bit, it will win against it. So I'm not sure if the melter is actually a good counter to the abyss. My sledges feel a little bit bad here because the enemy never decided to go into the Mustangs. I could have taken armor or field maintenance here, I guess, still against the hounds. But look at the abyss killing. When it connects to like Mustangs or hounds that stay still, it does a lot of damage. And the melters are kind of distracted here by the wasps. So this usually happens when the Mustangs are kind of stuck somewhere else. Then a couple of wasps fly, distract the melter. I think it's really important to go a couple of wasps with abyss. And now there's the problem with the abyss. When the enemy units are moving, it's just shooting at the ground, doing nothing. So here's some spells. The Ion Blast is amazing for both of us. The quick cooldown could be really scary, but the enemy has all his spells ready, so don't think he will take it. I'm doing this beacon because he has Ion Blast and the oil available, trying to dodge the spells. More wasps. If I remember correctly, I commit into Sledgehammers here more. So I add a couple of wasps or one wasp to distract the melting points. And then I add more Sledgehammers to counter the Mustangs. Oh, I don't add Sledgehammers, okay. I think I will do it next turn. I actually have played these worms, I think 3 times now with the abyss from the unit drop, and they have been feeling quite good as a tank for it. There's the spells on the side we are on, as expected. And we are dodging them all with the beacon, fortunately. And the ion beam for us is really strong. The wasp are getting countered at the middle, but on both of the sides the wasp are actually doing a lot of stuff. And I beacon my unit to the corner. It's not very good, but I think the worm should have this. No, it's the melter is too big. So pretty useless units for the round. The melter counters every single one of them, and he can burn the oil with the Vulcan or Badger. So I will pick the Vulcan as well for the additional chaff clear with the oil. So it's a very high likelihood he will shield here on the left side. So like a more aggressive oil and push that side is not a good play. So I will focus on the right side with the oil. And I guess I deployed the Sledgehammers here because of the oil getting burned. So I have more front line. I could have done worms also. I think maybe this was a mistake because he has a good composition against the Abyss. I think with the melters he has to deal with my front line somehow. He has a couple of problems. He has problem with the worms, sledges and wasps, and he kind of deals well with the wasps with the mustangs. But against the worms or sledges, he could go factory here. Like factory or multi-melter is the choice against worms or sledges here, I would imagine. And I haven't played this comp much, so I didn't realize that. I think his only play was multi-melter or factory. And against multi-melter I need to click range on the Abyss here and not the swarm missiles. And also it's quite risky to build more sledges here, I imagine, against multi-melters and factory both. So I'm not sure if this was actually a good play. But still works out pretty well. And I feel like the Abyss is a unit you don't wanna commit that much into. Like I think the perfect amount of Abyss is like 1 in the mid game and 2 in the late game. If you build more than that, I think you will lose the ground war. There's exceptions, of course. Like how the enemy is building his composition and stuff like that. So here I'm checking where he will shield. Because he needs to be afraid of the backline fire also. Like I could fire on top of his melting points to kill the mustangs there. So I think he has to fight. He has to shield there. And because of the fire, he needs to build like 8 shields if he wants to actually stop everything. So that's kind of crazy. I don't think he has economy to do it. So that's why I'm putting the fire here in the forefront. And now we have the range on the Abyss as well. And I guess it's still correct to build the sledgehammers against the multi-melters. I think it was maybe better to go more wasps on the left side at least, even though he has aerial spec on the wasps. Oh man, I tried to delay the wasp a little bit there, but I ended up beaconing the Abyss as well. That was not my intention. Yeah, okay, he needed like 3 shields per side, so 6 shields. Maybe I could have put the Abyss more forward to kill the shield. Yeah, look at this. The mustangs are already dead when the wasps come in. That's crazy. So when the front line is dead, the Abyss actually connects very fast to all the mustangs. So that's some Abyss gaming for you. Thanks for watching. I might put the other videos also there, but there would be no talk. I'm not sure yet. Will I put them? But if you see more games here, it's just silent videos. Maybe you wanna watch them, maybe not. Thank you.